Hi guys, my name is Emily, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be talking about books for young people that I'm thankful exist because these texts didn't exist when I was a young person, and I really appreciate that humans are writing these things for young humans. This is a follow-up to my Top 5 Wednesday video where I talked about 5 books that I was personally thankful for. So the first book that I am thankful exists is George by Alex Gino. So George is Melissa's story. Melissa is a trans girl and she really wants to play Charlotte in the school's play, but they won't let her try out for the role because they don't recognize her as a girl. It's for 9 to 12-year-olds and it's like a beautiful introduction to difference, that humans and their gender identity and expression are different, and I think it's a really important read, and it has a lot of resources in the back. The more you know, the more open you are to these ideas, the better our world is. So I'm super thankful that George exists. The next book I have here that I am super thankful for is Beauty Queens by Libba Bray. I think this is actually the oldest book on the list, but it has been repopularized in the last little bit by some sort of someone having the radical idea of doing Lord of the Flies but with an all-girls cast, and they were like, dude, okay, first of all, Lord of the Flies is about toxic masculinity, so you kind of need an all-boy cast to get the point of the story across. And 2, Libba Bray already did that, and it's Beauty Queens. So it is, again, fantastic in terms of representation. It's playing off a classic that a lot of kids are forced to read in school, so I'm super thankful that this exists just to sort of think about socialization and gender and gendered expectations and different identities, and Libba Bray is a great writer, so if you haven't read it, I would recommend it. The next book I have here is the Indigo Teen Staff Pick of the Month for September 2017, and that is Moxie by Jennifer Matthews. So this is the story of Vivian. Her school has a really, toxic atmosphere in which the football team is basically allowed to do anything and get away with it. It's a disgusting, toxic culture that the school approves of by not addressing in any way. And so what Vivian does is she creates a movement within the school, and she calls it the Moxie Girl movement. She puts out little zines anonymously, and what she does is she brings the school together to do activism, to make change. I'm thankful that this book exists because it demonstrates the ways in which young people can band together to make changes to their school systems. If you're unhappy with your school's problematic policies, if you work together as a group, you can make change, and it can be very simple, peaceful, non-violent things that make a big difference, and it's a very easy, accessible example of how to make change, so I really appreciate that this exists. The next book I have here that I'm thankful for is another piece of literature for 9 to 12-year-olds, and that is The Lotteries +1 by Emma Donoghue. Now this is not perfect. There's some issues with the way Brian is treated and addressed, but what I am really thankful for is the amount of diversity in general. So you have a non-conventional, non-nuclear family with biological and adopted children with 4 parents, co-parenting, queer parents, a multicultural Canadian family. And I think it's really important to represent families that aren't your stereotypical nuclear family, because a lot of families right now don't meet up to that, although our media and our texts still sort of sit that way. I love that this exists. I can recognize that it's not perfect, that it has some problems, but I think in terms of what is out there in the 9 to 12 market right now, this is a pretty good first step, and I'm thankful that it exists and that it probably opening doors within this market of what is sellable, what is appropriate, and what the market will support for other authors. So I lied. Moxie is actually the Indigo's Teen Staff Pick of the Month for October 2017. September 2017's Teen Staff Pick of the Month is The Hate You Give, by Angie Thomas. I'm thankful that this book exists because it is a huge issue. Police brutality is a huge issue, and that we have this book that allows so many readers who will never experience this lived experience into the life of Star and to get to know her and feel close to her and empathize with her and to, at least for me personally, want to be a better ally. And I think it's really important that we see this story represented, we see this type of narrative represented within the YA bracket, because it's important for young people to think about this and to think about what they support politically, what they want to do with their lives, what they want to make changes to, and how they want to be good allies. So super, super thankful that this exists, that it's opened up a market for it. You'll see other books, Dear Martin being one of them, that are actually marketed in a very similar way to The Hate U Give, with the simple white cover, red spine, and red and white text on a black background. So I'm thankful that this exists. The last book I have here is Turtles All the Way Down by John Green, and I am thankful for this book because if you have ever tried to explain your anxiety to a person who doesn't have anxiety, you will know that it is very hard to get across why something totally irrational makes you so upset. And I think this book does such a good job of capturing anxiety and those sort of uncontrollable thought spirals when you have anxiety or OCD. I don't personally have OCD, but it's from the community reaction, it seems to be a very, very good representation of OCD. John Green, of course, has OCD, so it is an Own Voices perspective, but it is so wonderful to have your feelings explained in such a beautiful way. Like, John Green is a phenomenal writer for young folks who deal with mental health issues and who have anxiety and who have OCD. I think this is going to be really helpful to see yourself represented. For those who don't have any of these mental health concerns, I think it's going to be a really great way to empathize with your friends and to understand a little bit better what they may have difficulty articulating to you. So I'm super thankful that that exists. So these are some books for young folks that I am thankful that exist, because of what they do, because of what they give young people access to in terms of thinking differently, perspectives, different Own Voices narratives. Every single one of those books I would recommend to you. Those are all really good reads. Let me know in the comments down below, what is a book that you are thankful exists for what it does, what it offers readers. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you soon. Bye.